everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge television talk show where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 1 p.m. as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. This guy gets to ride home with you too. You know something? You can find us on television. We are syndicated on a Find Out to Television found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. You can also find the podcast on the newscasters.com. By the way, you've been on all those. You already know you have. All the social media sites. With social media, we are doing it, and we're working on some things in South Carolina. I can't tell you yet. I'm dying to. But we're working on some really good stuff there.
She's already worldwide.
So we're going. All the word gets out for you, okay? So John Merrill is a good friend of mine, and John was our former Alabama Secretary of State. Did a fantastic job. Other states were actually inviting him over to find out how he was doing it.
Thank you.
Because of the voting was so incredible there.
Thank you.
Check that.
Well, we were very fortunate to have a great team, and as a matter of fact, I just found out coming over today that one of the team members that had been with us for 2 decades, he was actually there before I was the secretary and retired about a year before we left office, passed away today, and his name was Ed Packard. He had been there for, like I said, more than 2 decades. He was a trusted voice in elections at the local, at the state, and at the federal level for so many people for so very long. He was a native of DeKalb County, a graduate of Auburn University, somebody that had been a really integral part of the Auburn University elections team, where they do training nationally for people that come and learn more about election technology and all of these things to make elections go more smoothly with a higher level of integrity and credibility each and every cycle. And he passed away. He had been in ill health, but you have to have quality people who are committed to excellence to assist you if you want to be the best. And that was one of the reasons why our team was as strong as it was, because we had quality people just like Ed and others that worked with us for that period of time. So you're nice to say that about me, but it should be spread to all the people that were part of the team.
It is a team. It's all part of it. I feel like I'm part of your team for some
Oh,
reason.
you are. That's right.
Like
An
I'm right
important
in
part of my team.
No, this guy is. I wanted to mention something because we had a tragedy, Charlie Kirk.
Yes.
And so, great guy. My son and daughter-in-law really looked up to him. And it was such a tragic what happened there. And it's about safety. And, you know, because a lot of us have opinions
Right.
that we want to get out there. And he had the right way of doing it.
Right.
And I watched some of his videos. My son used to send those to me on a regular basis. But it's the way, it kind of makes me think of you, it's the way he would approach someone that would be of differing views.
Right.
He didn't put them down, nothing like that.
That's
He would
right.
just sit there like you do. He would just sit there and just listen, and then he would give his point of interest and how that. What do you think?
But he always treated him with respect and dignity, and that was the thing that separated him from so many other people who can be confrontational in a situation like that. And Charlie was self-educated. You know, he did not have a degree of higher learning from any institution in the nation. No, we had honorary doctorates, honorary degrees from individual institutions of higher learning, but had not achieved that himself. And the thing that makes that so interesting is that he is one of the smartest people that I think I have ever met, and that I know that I have seen interact with people in the media on a consistent basis, because he's so well read. There were so many topics that he was an expert in because he was so well read. It reminded me of one of the statements that a friend of mine, Pat Williams, who's the author of more than 150 books, who started the Orlando Magic, who was the general manager for the Chicago Bulls, for the Philadelphia 76ers, for the Atlanta Hawks, and then later again for the Philadelphia 76ers, and then started the Orlando Magic. He said that the average man in his lifetime, once he finishes high school, will never read another book. But there are many people who, if they read 3 books on a subject, will be recognized as an expert in that field, because so few people actually know and understand enough about that topic that if you have read that many different books, 3 or more on that topic, you'd be recognized as an expert. And Charlie was really recognized as a philosophical expert in so many areas because he was so well read.
Yeah. Absolutely amazing. You know how, and I talked about this off the air. I have an aunt who's 103. She'll be 104 this month, and full facilities. I mean, as bright as most 20-year-olds, and she attributes it to reading. She has her own library. I mean, and she would get so upset if she saw us watching television instead of reading books. And it's true.
Well, she's not wrong, because the one thing that you can do when you're reading is you can determine the speed at which you choose to learn, but also the depth that you want to go into that particular topic. There's so many people that just elect not to read because they think it's boring or it's not educational, in the sense that they prefer to be educated because they'd rather just watch a video, or they'd watch some kind of narrative on social media or on television, if you will. But I know that the people that are well read are people that tend to be those that we refer to more often than not on their understanding of what should be done in this particular instance.
Absolutely, Charlie was that way too. And his wife, I was listening to her address, and I was just going to take up the torch and go with it.
Which is going to be a win for all of us. And I do know 3 young people who are in their early 20s who were very close to Charlie, who he had taken under his wings and had encouraged them, supported them, and allowed them to continue to grow in confidence in their presentations. One of those, the oldest one, is a young African American from Atlanta who came to the University of Alabama. His name is C.J. Pearson. Cindy and I encouraged him to come to Alabama. We met him through social media. Then we got to know him personally. He came to the university and began his studies there, and was just a disciple of Charlie, somebody that appeared with Charlie on the stage numerous times. Then there was another young man who is now a freshman at Auburn University. His name is Brylan Hollahan. He's from Tuscaloosa. Brylan's already written a book, which has been recognized as a bestseller. And Brylan, and it's called One Generation Away. And it's about making sure that we stand for the future of the Republic and making sure that we commit and conserve what we need to do to ensure that we will be able to continue to promote our nation now and in the future. And then Caroline Joyous, who is a young lady from Alexandria, just about 30 minutes from here, who was also a disciple of Charlie. So she's from Calhoun County, a neighboring county. And those 3 people, all of them have Alabama ties, but they were all very close to Charlie. I don't know of any other young person that is more closely tied to Charlie than those 3 young people that I just mentioned, who he has dramatically influenced the future of their lives.
You know, you had mentioned this before our past election, our presidential election, about the droves of younger people coming out to vote, and they seem to be very educated about that. And you had mentioned that. You said, I'm really proud of these new young folks coming in.
Well, it has made all the difference in the world in enthusiasm and energy, because they have enthusiasm and energy, and when they're committed to a particular cause or a particular candidate, it sends a message, because a lot of young people have been disconnected from politics for so many years because they don't understand how it impacts or influences their lives. But when they see that, it makes them want to become more involved because they can see a change.
Absolutely. You know, we noticed it first out of homeschool kids. You know, they had the parents there that knew what they were doing, training the kids, and it's just, I'm all for taking the phones away from the table, okay? Because the average, go to a restaurant, and what are you going to see? You're going to see a family, they're all there looking on their cell phones instead of enjoying the company. So Phil and I got married, we said, you know, one thing we're going to do, we're going to have meals together. Even if it's for 5 minutes, we're going to have a meal together. And so it's something about the family gathering around the table, and we're seeing more of that now.
We are, and we need more of that, because that's what builds the basic family element to encourage them to have a understanding of what's important to each and every one of them, which keeps them together as a unit.
Well, I think we're seeing a lot of little Charlies coming around now. And I know that their chapter has grown. Multitudes now of cities actually are using his basics for making America great again.
That's right. His model of learning, his model of education, his model of debate is a model that people are embracing because of what it actually means for an interaction with someone who has an opposing view that you have. And that was the thing that made Charlie so special, was his ability to engage and interact with someone who had a different opinion. So he'd be able to express to them, he appreciated them as an individual, but he did not necessarily agree with their position or their stance. And he did so in a way that would not cause them embarrassment in any way other than if they were not fully prepared to engage and were simply riding on emotion instead of facts.
Absolutely. Well, he had his act together. He already knew, because he was a studier, and he studied the Bible. He knew all of the, because the enemy tries to trick you.
That's right.
So, and it's best just not to say anything if you don't know the answer.
That's right.
And say, I'm
or as the old adage says, the old adage says, it's better to be thought a fool than open your mouth and remove all doubt.
That's Proverbs right there, 101. So let's go ahead. I can't believe half the show is already over. Let's go into a commercial break. We're going to return in just a few minutes. Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community. Whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need, toys at Christmas, or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Because of your overwhelming support, our 1488 MyPillow has been one of the biggest sales in MyPillow history. I couldn't think of a better way to say thank you than to extend our wholesale pricing through Christmas. Get a classic standard MyPillow for only $14.88. Upgrade to a queen size, just $18.88. King size, only $1 more. Get my body pillows for only $29.88. And ready? Multi-use MyPillows, only $9.88. It's perfect time to stock up for Christmas gifts for everyone on your list. Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our wholesale pricing, including my classic standard MyPillows, only $14.88. But that's not all. I'm so confident you're going to love our classic MyPillows that I'm going to extend my 60-day money-back guarantee until March 1st, 2025. Plus, orders over $75 ship absolutely free.
The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer.
Yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community
I'm
College.
back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Television Talk Show where truth matters. That's why we have John with us I'd have you every day on the show if I could. I know you're a very busy man.
Oh, you're so kind.
Wagner Engineering, and so many positive things are coming out of your being associated with them as well. So let's talk a little bit about safety, and about how to keep our cities safe. How can we do that?
Well, there's a lot of different things that you can do, but the main one is to have an engaged electorate and constituency that whenever they see something, they say something to law enforcement or to elected officials that require investigations to occur that will enable those particular instances that are introduced that are not positive to be explored and to be examined to determine whether or not they need to be corrected. And having an engaged law enforcement community, just like we have here in Etowah County, where we're sitting across from the sheriff's office and the jail, means a lot because people know they can talk to the Gadsden Police Department. They can talk to the Etowah County Sheriff's Department. They can talk to those folks in Rainbow City and Southside and Attala and Glencoe and all across Etowah County about things that are of concern to them. It's funny that you mentioned it the way that you did because one of my friends who is one of the top law enforcement officers in the entire state is Chief Bill Partridge in Oxford, Alabama. And Bill and I were talking the day after Charlie's assassination, and he already told me how many law enforcement officers were present at that site in Utah when Charlie was assassinated. He was explaining to me when they had Tucker Carlson there just last year in Oxford, he had 14 officers that were inside the venue whenever he was present. Not even to mention the other folks that were positioned, snipers that were positioned, other plainclothesmen, and uniformed officers who were present throughout his entire visit to deter any kind of activity from being considered.
Absolutely. The best. As a matter of fact, I knew Bill from a long time ago. We're in Rotary Club together. And I also was in the cell phone business. They bought a bunch of phones from me, and I always felt safe around those guys anyway. But they were always there and ready to help. And I remember one of the guys said, I went to his house because he bought his wife a cell phone. He said, I want you to teach her how to use the phone. This is back in the old cell phone days. Not everybody had one then. And so I was at her house, and he said, okay, now I want you to call me when you get home. And I'm like, who is he, my dad? And so he was over the Highway Patrol Department. And I said, well, okay, I will. And I didn't. I mean, I got home and started getting Brad ready for school the next day and all that stuff. And I just didn't think about it. So he called me and said, are you home okay? And I said, well, yes, sir. And he said, if you knew what went on in the daytime, you'd be, especially at night, you would be a little more concerning. So he taught me an important lesson. And that was to be aware of your surroundings.
Sure.
And a lot of us don't. We're in the busy, busy world. I say people around here and all across the country, they're on the phone, they're walking, and they bump into phone poles.
Or fall in a ditch, or run into another vehicle that's parked somewhere, or another person.
See that on the line.
Oh my gosh.
But not only that, but being aware of your surroundings. And another friend of mine, Rick Staines, you've seen him on the show. He's been on the show for 20 years. And that's what he does. And so he was on the show the very first time, 20 years ago. And he said, you know something, the person who actually walks up straight and they walk with an intention, a thug's not going to bother them. They're looking for the weak. And when you've got your head down, even though you're not weak, you've got your head down, you're looking at your cell phone, you're a target.
And you know, the thing that you just described has a name. It's called situational awareness. And it means that when you are in a particular environment, that you look around and you know who you're engaged with and what's happening to you. There's not another greater example of that than what we witnessed in the young lady that was murdered in Charlotte, North Carolina, just 3 weeks ago, which that was not even introduced until early last week when there was a social media introduction of that information that came from a video that was captured inside that particular rail car in Charlotte, North Carolina, where she just went in from work. She sat down in a chair or a bench that was there in that car, and then the guy that was behind her just got up and started stabbing her in her neck. And she had no concept that this was even a possibility. Didn't even know it was going to happen. Another thing that was very disappointing was what happened with the other people who were present, who did not even respond to what had occurred. And I know they were stunned, but you also have to look at it like, what would you do if it was your loved one or someone that was sitting there unprotected and in a very vulnerable position? How would you try to help them and assist them in a survival method? Because that's what you experienced there.
We have to just try to think ahead of what you would do in a situation, not being negative or anything like that. But we watch a lot of slasher movies, and in a lot of the slasher movies, you'll see the guy is being beat to death and his wife is standing in a corner somewhere. And so I tell Phil, I say, you know what, if somebody came in our house and did that, I would be finding chairs and whatever, knocking them over the head. So that's real.
Iron skillets or whatever you can get.
And I got plenty of iron skillets.
Right.
So, I mean, really, just being aware of your surroundings and protecting each other, that's what we're all about. That's what we're on the earth for, to help each other.
100%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about. I wanted to ask you about Wagner Engineering. And because I know there are a lot of small towns that have responded to watching you being here on Wagner Engineering. And it's all across the country. So their towns are really small towns, and they want them to grow, but then some people don't want it to grow. How can you get folks on the same
Well,
page?
there's a lot of different ways that we can do that, Donna, and I think one of the things that people need to recognize about law enforcement, for example, is that we can help them with grants that are attainable through the federal government, through our members of Congress, through our United States senators, through other federal agencies where they can gain access to that to improve law enforcement opportunities and performance in their communities, but also with grants that are available to help through economic development, roads and bridge development, water and sewer development, park design and development, long-range planning. All of those things are also possibilities for growth. And those are things that we are encouraged to help these individual communities with as they're trying to find ways that they can improve and that they can grow and help their own community develop the way that their citizens would like to see.
Yeah, and I would love to. Every community in the world needs a BNI chapter. You need one. Those are the most encouraging folks to help you in your business. If there's not one in your town, go find one. Just go to BNI.com.
That's right.
Look it up that way.
Or found one for your community so you can grow and you can have people that are dedicated to working together to improve the quality of life in your community.
And it's right here in Gadsden. I have never seen a town change so much. Gadsden and Ottawa. I mean, these towns are changing for the best.
They are.
And find a Rotary Club. You know, away your Chamber of Commerce. They've got a good one right here too. And
Yes, they do.
right here in Gadsden's a real good, but just be part of it and be part of the club. No, I've met people before who said, you join the Gadsden Chamber or whatever Chamber of Commerce, they never helped me. So my first question is always, well, what have you brought to the table?
Right.
Like, you don't just join a club.
Or as John Kennedy said in his inaugural address, January 20th, 1961, ask not what America can do for you, ask what you can do for America. He said, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. And I think that is the kind of attitude that we all need to have when we're talking about what we can help our community, our county, our state, our nation become.
Because right here in Etowah County, Gadsden is not just about helping themselves. We've talked about this numerous times when the tornado hit a small community up on Sand Mountain. They're part of Etowah County too. Well, what did they do? They all banded together because this is a small town. They didn't have the snow trucks or whatever you would need in the form of a disaster, but they did. Gadsden did. So they worked with all the other towns in this area and went to this little small town and helped them out.
100%.
So there you go.
That's what it's all about.
helping.
That's right.
What do you say about competition? Do you think competition is good or bad?
Competition is always good because it makes everybody else better. Some people are often disappointed by competition because they think they're taking away a share of the market they currently hold, or in athletics, they think they're taking away from playing time that they may have. The bottom line is this: if you are losing playing time or if you're losing market share, it means that you need to improve on your offerings, whether it's the quality of product, whether it's the service that you're delivering, or in athletics, it's your performance, how many yards you're achieving as a running back, how many yards you're achieving as a quarterback, how many tackles you're getting as a defensive player. Because when you're able to do all of those things, you're able to improve because people are pushing you to get better and better and better. If you're afraid of competition, you can find something else to do.
Oh.
Why don't you go sell ice cream?
There you go. But you know, and I won't mention names. Me and this guy are buddies right now. But a long time ago, back in the cell phone business, Phil and I owned 8 Nextel stores in Alabama. Well, one of my guys, if he's watching, he knows what I'm talking about. He puts a billboard right up at my place. Well, people were not noticing the name on the billboard. They just saw Nextel. That's all they saw. So when I saw this guy at one of the Nextel meetings, I said, "Thanks for the billboard." He looked at me really funny, and he's what you mean? I said, "That billboard you put right there, not by me. People think it's my billboard." It went down the next week. But see, it helped me. I was all for that guy putting up a billboard. It was just like, thank you so much for your help. But you know, you can also be a mentor to other people who are your competitors with. And I've seen this happen a lot of times. There's a lady, her name is Jan, and I used to be with GTE, and she was with Bell South Mobility, and we sent each other customers. I mean, because I did not have the service Bell South had at the time.
Right.
And so I would just tell people, go to them. That brought me more business than anything because people saw I was being honest about it. And it's a real simpleton thing to do. They have people riding with me from headquarters to find out my great secret. And I said, really, anybody can do what I do. All you've got to do is take care of the customer. That's it. And if you own a small business and you got a bunch of big businesses that are competitors around you, you've got it, because you can have the best customer service in the world, and you will beat the big boys.
And people will respond to that because they know you care about them. And that's the key.
That's what it's all about. A minute left in this segment. What would you like to tell everybody before we go?
Donna, you're so kind to continue to keep all the people in your viewership area informed and educated about the different opportunities they have to serve their own community and to help their community become all it can possibly be. And when we make that commitment to local excellence, it grows from that community, that county, that municipality, that county overall, the region of the state that they're in, the state where they reside, and our nation as a whole. Those are the things that we want to continue to see. Each and every community growing as strong as it can possibly be, so they can be the beacon of hope and light that everybody aspires to become.
And everybody's looking for that light. I'm just telling you right now in this day and time. Well, thank you for being part of our team here. And thank you so much for being part of the team too. You're what it's all about. Continue sending emails, Donna@donnasedge.com, Donna@donnasedge.com. See you next time. Thanks, John.
Thank you, Donna.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge television talk show. Truth Matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 1 p.m. as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. Been doing this for about 20 years. We're very, very happy to be here with you. But I just wanted to do a quick video and bring my husband in. But before we do that, you know, we are syndicated. We're on Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Don't forget the podcast on thenewscasters.com. That's another way to see us. You can also find us on social media. All the social media platforms. We've got Facebook, we've got MeWe, we've got YouTube. We do it all, don't we, Phil?
We try to do it all. Some of them don't cooperate. We have to slap them around a little bit.
Yeah, really. That's what his job is. This is Philip Fiesel. This is my husband. A lot of you have met him before while we're out and about and just doing social gatherings and that kind of thing. But I wanted to bring Phil in so you can just kind of hear on his perspective what it's like to host a talk show and what the behind the scene things are. And it's like I've told you all a million times, I can't do it without him.
Yes.
No, I couldn't. No, not when it. I'll tell you what I did one time. And this is when we got the first computer. The first computers were like ancient. Give it to a kid now, they would laugh at you. You could use it as a doorstop.
Probably not even going to go to
This is back in the old floppy days. Remember all that kind of
I
stuff.
do.
So I was going to help him out. And so he was working on the bookkeeping part of the business. And I erased it. And then I was dreading telling him, and he doesn't get violent or anything like that, but I just didn't want to tell him I did it. So anyway, he comes in, and I said, I've erased all of the bookkeeping stuff from the computer, all the billing and all that kind of stuff. But you actually had it saved on floppy.
Yes.
And what's the big ones too back then?
Gosh, we have graduated from small to large to small. That probably was the big 5.5 or something like that. It's a real floppy, real easy to break or bend, I guess. But that was probably back in that days. Then it came down to 3.5. Then it come back to there's been a lot of changes in the industry in the last quite a few years.
Yeah, but this is what he said. So I didn't know that you could save it like that. Now, this is like our very first computer, and I thought I just erased everything. And so he said, well, I guess if Jesus can save, I can save. So he did save the information on a floppy. But now, though, everything you do now is so automated. Because remember the early days of the show, 20 years ago, I was working at a television station, and Tom gave me my first shot at it, and Tom's just a really, really neat guy. But it was in Jacksonville, Alabama. We got to start. And remember back then, we had to have a camera guy, and actually 2 camera guys, and then we had the lights. Remember all of that? And just like 3 lights behind me, 3 in front of me. Now the computer does all of that stuff.
It and during those times, we have had people that were in charge of lighting and recording, and you didn't come in late and get because you didn't get on her show because you have to have the lighting set up, and if it's one little bit off, everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's all has been so precise. And those lights were big and they were really expensive.
Yes.
And you know, I'm very cold-natured. You all can attest to that. And Phil can too. But they had to keep the air on. And this is in Jacksonville and in Charlotte, the television station there as well. So they had to keep the lights on, but they had to keep it so cold in the studio. I always wore long sleeve jackets and coats and what have you. Couldn't hardly stand it. But they did because those lights were so expensive, and they were like this big.
They're pretty good size, yes. And it took a lot of energy to burn them, and that created a lot of heat. And the same thing with computers when they first came out. You had probably a big room, and it was with the air conditioners, you could freeze going in there. But it had to be because it generated so much heat.
And remember when we had the internet company, and we started a dial-up service, and this is before you had high-powered computers and all that. We had to have these phone lines that would go in. How many phone lines did we start with, and we had to quickly go to more?
Well, we started with just a few phone lines to get what we needed. Then when we decided to sell it, it got to a point where everything was analog and it was fixing to have to go digital, and it didn't do it gradually. It was a stair step, and we didn't want to invest the money in it. So when we got out of the internet business, we had 60 phone lines coming into our equipment. And when the storm come through, guess where I was at? I was in this room trying to keep it going.
You were sweating it out. No, but because this was in Anniston, Alabama. And so wonderful customers down there. And now what they said is you would have a 10-to-1 ratio. So in other words, for every one modem, you would have 10 customers. And so we never had the busiest, but if we had any customer who complained the least bit, we'd start adding more modems.
That's right.
And that's just the way we did it. So we sold that company to Highway out of Huntsville. And that was a good company too. We were very appreciative to them about that. And then we got into the cell phone business. I had been working with GTE, and we decided we wanted to have Nextel cell phones. And that was a big lot of fun too.
It was. Our first goal when we got into the cell phone business was if you come into our store and needed a cell phone, we had what you needed. But people couldn't separate it, so we just started fine-tuning it, and we decided on Nextel because it had the walkie-talkie, and we went through a lot of changes with that. Enjoyed it, and it was good business.
I think that was my favorite carrier. Now we had PowerTel. I loved PowerTel as well, and that was a lot of fun. And we sold a lot of phones. We had 8 locations, and so you remember David, who was with Nextel.
Yes.
And so David and I would butt heads a lot, at one time. And it was all out of fun. We liked each other. We just acted. We acted like an old married couple. We would just fuss with each other all the time. So he said, he actually sent me a text or did the 2-way, and it had this little side button. You would have to hold it down. Well, mine, I was always like the last person to get a new phone because I was always thinking, well, it's going to be something new, something better. Mine started sticking. It would just hold down, it wouldn't stop holding down. So David said, I can train a monkey to sell PowerTel. And then I said, moron or something. I forgot what I said. We called each other names all the time. It was done in fun and jest. And so he said, just wanted to let you know I heard that. And then I went, whoops. And then I went, I meant for you to hear that. So you had to be really careful with those phones.
Yes. As we started with prepaid first, and then went up to PowerTel. Had we stayed in the business and not sold it, we would be T-Mobile today, because they transitioned everything through, and T-Mobile would be our carrier today. So it was.
Well, I like that. And I think the worst thing that actually Sprint bought out Nextel.
Yes, right.
And then you're right with PowerTel. But when Sprint took over, for some reason, they didn't seem to like the 2-ways for some reason. I don't know what happened. The network didn't function or something.
With Sprint, they were fairly new, and if you go to major city to major city, you had coverage. But they hadn't gotten into the rural areas yet, so it didn't do them a lot of good. So somebody else got it, I think.
Well, another thing that Phil and I totally believed in was customer service, and you could get fired just like that if we found out one of our employees was in the least bit rude. So one of my really good friends, business guy in Anniston, told me, he said, I just want to let you know that your employee was rude. He said, I know how you are about that. And I said, yes, we're friends. I appreciate your telling me. And everybody knew when we walked in with a box, that meant you were gone. And I would say the number one reason that we would fire people was not for not showing up, not doing the job. It was if you were rude to a customer. We would always give them a chance to vent and say what happened in the situation. Because some people you can't please no matter what. So I always give them a chance out. It wasn't like we just slammed the door and said, put your stuff in this box. It was not like that. But we truly believe, and still do, you take good care of your customers, they're going to take really good care of you. And when you start a business, a lot of you are afraid of the big businesses. We were moms and pops. We were actually authorized agents of Nextel. And so it was a small business associated with a big business. But I'm just telling you, if you own a small company, you can weed out the big ones if you wanted to right now. You really, literally could, just by being good to your customers.
Absolutely. Your customers, what got us a lot of business is we were their customer service. They had a problem, we didn't give them a phone and say, hey, here's a toll-free number, call and they'll fix it for you. We fixed it for them. We kept them from that. And when Donna was out talking to business people that are customers, our first thing was I want to talk to the person who is in charge of paying the bill. Because back then, it's a lot different than it is now. Today you can talk all you want to. Back then you had to have a plan and had so many minutes, and if you went over it was another minute, not a few seconds. So it's changed.
Yeah, because now it's unlimited plans, and it's so good. So a lot of my customers, especially the guys at the police station, remember them? They would run up these massive bills, and I would put it in their head, and I would say, now you know that if you talk for 1 minute and 1 second, you're billed for 2 minutes, like that. And there was nothing I could do about it. Although the company, because I sell so many phones, the company would sometimes give me free minutes, and I would just give them free minutes to try to compensate for it. But remember this: if you're a small business, if you'll be the one to go ahead and initiate and take care of a customer if they're running into an issue, and a lot of times it's not that big of a deal, but to them it's the world, so it needs to be the world to you too. You be the one to call the company. And this will tell you, because I'm the same way. If I call the company, let's say I call our bank, it's a big bank. So if I call them and I'm put on the hold for 1 minute, to me it's going to feel like 30 minutes. Right. It just will to that customer. They're sitting there. But back in that day though, I had someone I called, I think it was Judy, right, that I would call. So I just called, and I had Judy's, because we sell so many phones, I actually had her phone number, and she would say, don't talk to the young ones, call me. So I would call Judy. Judy would take care of everything for us. It was just so awesome the way that turned out. But if you own a small company, I'm just telling you, you can mop up the big boys, especially the way their customer service. We're doing a restaurant. For goodness sakes, be a small person. If you own a dress shop, be the small one in town. I just promise you, you'll just mop it all up. We've got to go into a commercial break, okay? And we're going to be right back in just a few minutes. Y'all hang in there, okay? We'll be right back. Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you.
You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
I'm excited to announce our Christmas extravaganza is finally here. Get this season's flannel sheets for as low as $59.98. They won't last long, so get them while you can. Our famous My Slippers, they haven't been on sale for over a year. Regularly $119.98, now only $59.98. Our 6-piece towel sets are back in stock with extremely limited quantities, only $29.98. With hundreds of My Pillow products, there's something for everyone on your Christmas list. Bathrobes, duvets, quilts, down comforters, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save on all My Pillow products. For example, flannel sheets for as low as $59.98, or our 6-piece towel sets just $29.98. But that's not all. I'm extending our 60-day money-back guarantee until March 1st of 2025. Plus, all orders over $75 or more ship absolutely free.
The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462.
Good afternoon, we're back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Age Television Talk Show. Going on 20 years, we've been talking about how we've been in the technical business for a really long time.
Yes, sir.
Oh my goodness, what, 35 years ago, back when nobody had cell phones, we were doing it. And it was so funny how the customers, you remember this? Now, when you own a business, let's just say you're the new one on the block, you're the new kid, and it's a new widget, brand new widget. This is what you've always got to remember, is there was one time that you were new, really? Remember that? So I remember when I got hired from Cellular One, Ed White was my boss, and so Ed laughed his head off because he gave me my cell phone, and I went like this, I said, I don't hear dial tone. So I did that. He laughed like crazy. So when I would have new customers coming in, they would say the same thing. How do you get the dial tone? Well, instead of laughing and making fun of them, I would just say, you know, I did that too the very first time I used a cell phone. That way you're not making them look like an idiot, you know. And I've seen so many people do that. They would just look at them like you're stupid, you know, because you didn't understand how the widget worked. Remember, there was a time you didn't understand it too. So those are just things that you do for customer service. Let's talk a little bit about the show and all the things that you do to make it work.
Well, it's not that I do it to make it work. It's there's a lot to it that people don't see when they're watching the show. The way you have it set up, you're sitting here talking with the customer or a client, interviewing a client, and you've got to start and stop. And there has to be where I start, where she stops. So we got that set up where when she goes to a break, sometimes you'll see the thing on there, so it gives me a 39 and on 5, 4, 3, 2. I know when to come in. When she stops, I take over. So you don't hear any talking going on during this between times. So that's edited out. I insert the commercials. So she's not sitting here with a guest talking or sitting here waiting for the commercials to play. So that is all done behind the scenes, and what you see is when she ends it, she signs off. She tells everybody a goodbye and all that stuff. And then I take it from there and play music, whatever is necessary, commercials. And then all you see is a smooth ending. She comes, or beginning, she comes in and welcomes, and then she says bye at the end. And that's all you guys see. And it's not that it's hard, it's just something that has to be done. And sometimes it won't play games, you have to slap it around a little bit. But most times, it's easy.
He says it's not hard. Yeah, right. It's very hard. If I had to do it, you would not see a show. I just tell you. You mentioned that we are Twin City Used Car Sales.
Yes, we are.
Located in Gadsden, Alabama. Bobby Ledbetter. And I'm just going to tell you what, I've learned a lot from Bobby on customer service, and that's how you take care of those customers. For that time, I was just kidding with him, and I just mentioned I'd like to have a pink tractor and live on a farm and all that kind of stuff. And so Bobby's worried himself sick trying to find a pink tractor. And then he walked up to me and he said, I was at his place about doing a remote, and Bobby said, you know, Miss Donna, I can't find a pink tractor. I don't know what we're doing. I started laughing. I said, Bobby. I said, Phil's the one who's going to be driving the tractor. Do you think Phil's going to drive around a pink tractor? So anyway, this guy goes far and beyond whatever you're looking for if you're looking for a vehicle. But that's not what I talk about. I don't even talk about all the great inventory he's got. I don't talk about all of those things. And he does. He has a great inventory, cars, trucks, SUVs. You want it, he's got it. We buy all of our vehicles through Bobby. We have for years. And so he gets repeat customers. And the reason he gets repeat customers, just like we talked about before, is because he doesn't have time to go out and get anybody. They come to him because they've been referred to somebody. But not only that, this guy is so digging into the community. It's always helping folks in need. You know, when COVID hit, we talked about that a lot. I forgot how many thousands of people got food that families. It didn't turn anybody down.
And went to several cities in the area that he's in. He started out, I guess, Fort Payne with the restaurant owner there, Niles, and he and they all met together and started to talk through them. It started off slow, but it boomed.
And then the Cowboy Church helped us out too.
Yeah, Cowboy Church was dynamite. They first furnished a lot of stuff, and they had people all over the place doing stuff like that. And it was something that was necessary, and it went over very, very well. And he asked Donna to come in and help him out, and she had the contacts. They had the contacts. And as a matter of fact, the first one didn't have the restaurant involved in it. It was kind of solo. But Bobby knew the man, Niles, and he said, hey, I'm running out of food. He said, don't worry about it. So he prepared food, got it out to him, and it was a success. And from that point on, Miles was part of the events as well.
He was part of the team. So there was so much. You remember in Center, what happened in Center? So in Center, they ran out of food. And so the Cowboy Church ran out of, I mean, there's so thousands of people came. So they ran out of food, and Miles, of course, ran out of food as well. So you know what Bobby did? He called the McDonald's that was in Center, and he told the McDonald's, he said, if somebody comes by, here's my credit card. He said, if somebody comes by and they mention that they're here to get the free food, he said, go put it on my credit card. That's the kind of guy this is. I'm not going to buy a car from anybody else but him.
And we say, we keep talking about Cowboy Church. And the Cowboy Church, that's Philip Gill. He's pastor of one of the churches, and he's one of the, I won't say the big wheels in the Cowboy Church Association, but he's all over the country, helping them to start churches and helping the pastors get trained and everything they need. That's Philip. That's what Philip does, and he has been dynamite to help us a lot.
Yeah, I love having him on the show.
Yes, he's on there quite a bit. At least once a month.
This guy wants to walk.
Yes, he does.
And so he and Bobby are really good friends now. And another really neat thing that happened too, that happened in this community in Gadsden, Alabama. The hurricane that went through, and Asheville did so much damage up there. Well, the first thing the Cowboy Church is going to do is, put some meat on the wagon and bring the chuck wagon. And they're going to go up there and feed, and they gather all kinds of water and canned goods and things like that. And so it was so necessary what they did, but and I want to mention another person. That's Kaylee right here at the Gadsden Mall, Kaylee Johnson. So Kaylee called. She was in a quandary because they had been gathering food and just all kinds of stuff, for the hurricane victims as well. So what I'm seeing is the outreach in this town right here through the leadership of Bobby Ledbetter, Twin City Used Car Sales, and the Gadsden Mall, Kaylee, and Cowboy Church. Stuff gets done, even if it's not in their small town. So Kaylee calls and she says, Donna, we got all this stuff. And she said, I don't have a way to get it to it. She said, do you know anybody at the Cowboy Church that can help? So I picked up the phone, called Philip Gillen. And Philip said, yeah, Wormy can do it. So Wormy he said, I know Wormy's got a truck. I don't know if he's a truck driver or what, but he pastors the Henniger Cowboy Church. And so Wormy he gets on that bus. He's a little guy. I bet he looked funny in that truck. So he's coming by, and he came by the Gadsden Mall, picked up all that stuff. And again, through the leadership again of Bobby Ledbetter with the Twin City Used Car Sales, all of that gets to the folks who were damaged and their victims of the hurricane.
And they've been active. The Cowboy Church has been active. They have a Chester, big Chester, that goes to church with one of them. He makes the chuck wagon happen out in the different areas where there's been a catastrophe.
Well, that's his ministry.
That's his ministry. He's
the
taken that on.
Kentucky,
When the flood came up, he went up there a couple of times, and he's been all over the place just to help people. And you never know who needs help. That's what they're for.
So, that's what the ministry is all about. And folks that you need to support people like that. Get out there and just say thank you, whether you go to their church or not. Just thank them for what they do. And come back here and tell Bobby Ledbetter that you appreciate what he did as well. And he's helping the schools now, the school system here, and the school system needs help. Because there are teachers who are out there that don't make enough money, and they are actually using part of their salary to buy paper and pencils, and the things that the kids got to have to learn. So he found that out, and then so he started helping the school system as well.
Well, I purchased a truck, not an idea. Got a while back.
Me in 23.
Okay. And had a little hiccup in it. He liked to worry me to death before he got it fixed. He gave me another vehicle to drive, and it took me a while to get back to where I could pick it up, but he made it right, and you don't have to. When you buy a used car, that's it. But he did. He made it right, and that's what it's all about.
And that list goes on and on and on.
It
I'm
does.
continually hearing people saying, thank you for telling me about Bobby Ledbetter with Twin City Used Car Sales.
And if you need to contact any of these people, call Donna. She says, well, I don't do anything. She does. She's researching on the computer just about every night, ready for what's next.
Yeah, we would love to hear from you. Send an email to Donna@donnasedge.com, Donna@donnasedge.com. If you'd like to be on the show, if you have any ideas for the show, we always appreciate all the emails and things we get from you. Some of them are funny. They're about Alabama and Auburn. We're getting a lot of that now. War Eagle.
Roll Tide.
There you go. Mixed marriages do work. Thank you again so much for watching. Thank you for being with me, Phil.
No problem. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, we're going to do more of these. I have a lot of fun. But thank you again so much for watching. You're the reason we do every single thing that we do. Absolutely. Take care. We'll see you next time.